We're so excited to have everyone here today. Thank you so much for attending, and we really hope our information can be of help. A little bit, something quick about the Durham Muslim Alliance. The Durham Muslim Alliance is a community-based group focused on civic engagement and helping the community and the Muslim community. So I'm really excited for this event. We can share all of our experiences, our tips with university, how COVID has affected everything. I'm a third-year health sciences student at the University of Waterloo. I was living on campus in the beginning in first and second year, and then I moved back home, and I've been working remotely ever since in Ajax. I want to know a little bit more about our two amazing guests here. We have Hasan and Rabbia. Rabbia, can you get us started? Tell us a little bit about yourself, about your education. Let everyone know who you are.
Yeah, so my name is Rabbia. I'm a current fourth year public health student at Brock University. So I'm majoring in public health and minoring in business. I'm currently living on residence. And that's because I'm working here. I currently work at the vaccination clinic, part of Niagara Health. And what else? I am also doing a research project and getting ready to graduate in a month. So I'm very excited.
Nice, love it. Hasan, tell us about yourself.
Hi, assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Hasan. So I go to York University in Toronto, and I live in Pickering. So for me, with COVID, we've been working from home. So instead of commuting, we're just working from home. My program is health studies with a specialization in health management. And other than being at home, I am working right now part-time in Pickering in the telecommunications industry, as well as I work for Durham Family Resources, and I assist people with disability.
Great, thank you so much, both of you. So our first topic, we're gonna jump right into it. Our first topic is learning in COVID right now. So we all know being a university student is already hard as is. And given COVID, it's just presented so many different issues, whether you're working from home or being on campus. So what's been your take on it? What's your experience? So Hasan, why don't you start us off with that?
Sure.
How's it been?
The nice thing about learning online is that you can do it from the comfort of your own home. So obviously you don't have to commute in the mornings when it's cold and stuff like that, and you get to just sit in front of your computer and join the lectures and stuff like that. So that's really nice, right? You really like it. But I think that some of the issues that we have with just learning from home is just sometimes you don't have that social aspect anymore. You can't go to campus, conversate with people, talk to your TAs, your professors, have that one-on-one physical experience. I know professors always mention that, they miss even just seeing students physically in the classroom and participating. But also, when you're at school, physically, when you go to school, you get that sort of motivation to go to your lectures and to listen and to focus, and even just doing your readings there, going to the library, taking advantage of the different online tools that they have, like writing. I know my university has the writing room, and they have stuff like that. And I know that they've moved that stuff online, but again, it's nice to be on campus and to meet with someone and, for example, show them your rough work so they can edit it and help you out, right? So I think that's some of the stuff that I miss personally.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, I think the adjustment period was so hard for me in the beginning. I don't know about you guys, but when I first got to university, I was like, okay, well, my grades are kind of dropping, and I was kind of freaked out and spooked. Did you guys experience that? Could you speak on that a little bit?
Yes.
Okay. No, you go for it.
Yeah.
No, you go.
Okay, well, I think the adjustment period was definitely challenging just because I think no one was really aware of what was going on and how things were going to be shifted. But I think over time, I've really learned how to time manage and schedule it all out. I think COVID's presented, I guess, an opportunity for us to do more things within the day, because if you're spending primarily most of the day at home doing school, you have so many more hours now to do something else, whether that's volunteering or working on the side. or even just getting to spend more time with your family. I know when I was home, it was just nice because we probably spent the most time together within that, I guess that period where we were able to have dinner together. Last year we had Ramadan during COVID, and it was just so much easier in terms of just, getting to eat different things and spending that time together, cooking.
Experiment.
Yeah, and just just being every night together at the dinner table. I
Yeah,
think that was so. We look back on it and we're like, oh, that was so nice that we
we'll
got
never
to
get
do
that
it. I
back.
think, yeah,
Yeah.
I think COVID presented some like great opportunities for us to even just reconnect with our family and like be able to spend more time with them. So I think I'm really appreciative that over, I guess, what COVID was able to do for me.
Yeah. No, and another thing that I think, for me at least, I noticed that in the beginning of COVID, like in terms of my school, I was so nervous that, oh my God, like, I'm gonna be at home.
Mhm.
I won't be able to like excel, and I won't be able to like go talk to my profs and about like my TAs, and just I won't be able to have that connection anymore and build those networks. But then I didn't find that was the case at all. Like, if anything, it helped. I was online, and even though one thing I want to stress upon for future students, it's gonna be hard in the beginning because you don't have any, you might have live classes, but you might not. And so it's kind of all up to you. You're the one who's making your schedule, and just be, wary about that like you're going to have to make your own schedule, and time management is such a big thing here, and you can like continue to get good grades and do well in school and be involved. It's more up to you, which is kind of harder, but I
Yeah.
think in the long run, would you guys say that it kind of helps you in the future because now you just
It does. And, touching on to you and what Rabbia said was that university is, it's all about time management. And just like compared to high school, even for like the parents that are here, like, they don't, like they motivate you, but they're not running after you to hand in the assignment,
Yeah.
right? Like it's all up to you. And if you want to be successful and you want to excel, you have to put in the work, right? And that's for anything that you do, right? You have to put some sort of effort. But if you can do that, I mean, you're easily on the path to success.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can definitely go. I know you guys know that, but that's something that I think is really important. But COVID, just COVID itself, it's been kind of good in a way because it's added like a time for reflection, and you really get a time to think about also what else is important. And like Rabia said, it is family and spending time with family, and having like faith and stuff like that. You really get that opportunity, and I don't think that's something that we will get for a long time again, right, when we go back.
Yeah, great. I'm ready to go on to our next section. Is there anything else you guys want to add about learning in school? Yeah, okay. So another really big topic that I know I was talking to a lot of students about are jobs and just research and different opportunities. So I know for me, when COVID first hit, I was working at a full-time co-op job. And I'm not gonna lie, the first thing I thought of when I heard that I have to go home, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose this opportunity that I worked so hard to get, and I'm not going to be able to like contribute on my resume or do anything. And that it became the opposite because of online school and just being online and this whole virtual world that we have right now, everything was just shifted over, and if not more opportunities were added on, like in research and in jobs and stuff. What has your experience been like? Because I know a lot of people are worried about that like I won't be able to get positions.
For me, I think COVID ended up being really positive because I was able to, one, connect with people and build relationships with them in a smaller amount of time that would have
Yeah.
probably taken me. Like I think if I had to do it physically, it would have been a lot harder for me to be commuting and meeting people and connecting with them over coffee or something. And it would have just, it would have just taken me a longer time period. Where I think with COVID, everything was just so much easier. Even just connecting with faculty. I would send an email and the next day they'd be like, okay, well, like, let's schedule a date for today or tomorrow. And that's something that wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for COVID. I think people have really adjusted to moving, their things online. And I think it's just been a lot more efficient for both students, but also employers or professors or TAs. I think it's just been a lot easier for everybody. And for me, I think COVID at first it was definitely challenging. I had an internship that got rescinded, and I think, it really did, put a strain on me because I'm like, oh, I'm missing out. But I found other ways that I could, get involved. So if I realized that my internship ended, I started doing research last summer. And I think that kept me going, and that kept me, I guess on top of things, where I was able to realize that I don't need to go in physically, or I don't need to have an internship. You can do so much just within school as well. So for me last summer, it was research. And now I really looked into finding opportunities because of COVID. So I am now working at the vaccination clinic, and I'm volunteering online. And I'm volunteering with the Public Health Youth Association of Canada. And that is an organization that literally started because of, I guess I guess it was just because of the benefits of being remote. And this entire, this entire opportunity, we're able to collaborate with people who are in public health all across Canada and get to meet them and learn from each other and, help create an impact within the community that probably wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for COVID. So I think COVID really did help in some areas where we're able to connect with each other a lot faster, and also, dive into maybe volunteering opportunities or internships now that have been moved online, which is only easier for us especially as students, to be able to time manage all of that.
I agree with you completely. So for me, I was similar to you, where I was COVID and I wanted to get involved, and I was like, okay, well, there's nothing, I'm not going to go in person. Everything's closed. So I literally just started emailing profs that I liked their research. And I talked to you about this before too. And I was like, I liked a few profs at my university. Their research looked really cool. And it was about infectious disease and public health. And I wanted to get more involved. These same profs had postings in the past in person, but those obviously were closed down now because so much of the funding in person was gone. And I emailed them and I was like, hi, these are my interests. This is my program. I really like this about your research. I'd love to get involved. Is there anything there? And honestly, in the beginning, I was just kind of sending emails thinking like, okay, I don't know if anything's going to come out of it. Let's just see what happens. And I actually got a few responses, which was really exciting. And I was like, whoa, I never knew just an email could just get me a job. And I think that's the world we live in now, where it's like an email does the job. And so and then from there, I got an interview, and now I'm working part-time on a research paper. We just finished one paper and now we're on to our second. So it's so funny, just an email allowed that to happen. So another thing I'd like to tell students, I think all of us will agree, where it's just make your own opportunity. Have that self-initiative and just go for it. Ask people, don't be scared, because the worst thing they could say is, sorry, no, I don't have anything for you. And that's it. And the good things that can come out of that are just so much. So just be proactive. That's all you have to be. And I think, would you guys agree, employers really like that when students are proactive? Because I think there's so many university students looking for the same positions, but when one person actually says, hi, I'm very interested, they all of a sudden stand out.
Yeah, I think employers really look for students who are passionate, just like professors do. I think when you find people who are passionate and care about your work and are interested in, creating a difference, I think that is so meaningful for, I guess, employers or even just managers or professors. I think they all really look towards people who actually want to, dive into especially their research or their interest, what they're working on. I think that's great.
Yeah. And Hasan, what about your experience with jobs and how's that?
So I've been gainfully employed since grade 9. I've always had work, and living in Toronto and just being a commuter, not living on residence or anything like that. I had a job, and we were listed as essential workers. So I was working throughout the summer, throughout the pandemic. But really, I wanted to, and again, you have to be proactive and you have to find these opportunities yourself. And you are the one that have to put in the work to find it. And I wanted to find something that was geared more towards, my field and geared towards helping people. And one of the areas that I liked, and I tell this to my family all the time, like I like disability and I like focusing on that specific area in healthcare and, how they are, well, disadvantaged in some way. And I applied to Durham Family Resources to be a direct support professional. And now I work
Is that
with
in person?
on Zoom. So that's the beauty
Okay.
of it as well. But that's because, the person that I help, they have like anxiety about COVID, and really, we all had that anxiety at the start. But some people cope with COVID differently, and that could be, due to like their own mental health and stuff. And that's how that's what I'm doing, is I'm meeting him online. I'm spending time with him, just trying to, lower that anxiety that he has, and just, help him get through it. And it's been very, it's been very like meaningful to me, and he loves it, and right, it's really nice. But these are some of the stuff that I think that we should do, and it helps us to differentiate ourselves between other candidates, right? When we have like our own different experiences and stuff like that, whether it's like research or it's practically like doing something, and you're right there. So
I
yeah.
love it. No, it's true. Like, I mean, that's going to be our next topic, where it's like, everyone has been affected by this. Even if you're not a student, if you're even just staying at home, like just the isolation and all that. We'll get into that later, but that's amazing. We have one person who's asking a
We
question.
have a question.
Do you have any tips for how to make a meaningful connection purely online? That's a really good question, because just sending an email is not usually, it doesn't do the job. I'll say what I have to say later, but what do you guys think about that? Who wants to go first?
Rabbia.
Okay. I think some tips that I would use to create meaningful connections online is to really research who you want to reach out to first. So if that's a professor or an employer, they really like if you have some background knowledge about what they do, and they'll definitely ask you too about why you're interested in working with us, or why you're interested in conducting this type of research. So really, find professors or employers who are catered to your interests, because that's the only way that you'll actually like the work that you're doing. And I'd say reach out to them, in a civil manner. So the way, proper email, I guess, format would be, asking them how they are, and, telling them, hi, I'm really interested in, like Umbra, you said before, I'm really interested in this type of research. I'm really interested in the type of work you do. I would love if we were able to connect and get to know more about whatever you want to do. So whether that's applying for a job, or if that's applying for research. But I would say, if you're applying into an employer, do not make it evident that you want a job. Maybe just start off fresh and just say, I just want to know more about the type of work you do, as I'm interested in, blank. And I think that that's a really, I guess it's the best, not the best way, but I think it's a really good way to, I guess, connect with somebody, because it shows that you're interested and that you're passionate. It's more than just getting a job. It's merely knowing about what they do and how that could be of interest to you. Along with that, you could, and then later on, if they want to take it forward, you can. But I think just showing them that you have background knowledge in what they're doing I think it's a great start.
I agree. I definitely agree. And we lost Hasan. Not sure where he went. Another thing I'd like to add is it can be hard, kind of like what Rabbia said. It can be hard having just being able to connect with someone online, because in person that has a whole nother thing to it. But one thing you should just remember to do is to let them know that, have that option, like, hey, can we have a call later on? And just maybe kind of asking them shows that you're proactive, you want to help, you want to get to know them more, and also tell them what you like, you like about their research or their job. Or flattery is always kind of nice, so maybe that would also help. If there's any other questions,
Yeah, just adding on to Rabbia, I think it's good, like when you're reaching out to employers, it's good to have knowledge of what you are, like you should have that passion on like what you want to do, or why you want to, like for example, if they work for an organization, or let's say you want to do research for them, you have to make sure you're passionate about it and you have knowledge in that specific area, right? Because they're going to ask you
Yeah.
right, why you want to join and stuff. So it would be good for.
No, absolutely. Again, if you guys have any other questions, you can put in the chat, or feel free to even unmute yourself, and we love to hear you. Okay, so moving on. We're going to be talking about mental health. So again, this is something that we've all been affected with, maybe with the pandemic, without, and a lot of people have felt overwhelmed and stressed by schoolwork. What has been your tip? Any tips that you guys have, or
Time
even
management again. I would recommend, I think it's the easiest way is to get the Google Calendar and just put everything there, what you need to get done for the day, or sometimes even just writing it out. Like, this is your day plan and you want to accomplish like a reading, or you need to accomplish like this assignment. And what I like to do is I like to write what I have to do. And then I like to say, what's my target date, and usually to complete it. And usually I mentally tell myself to have it done a day before it's actually due, because sometimes it's true, like especially when you're online and you have to hand in the assignment, sometimes the system won't take your assignment in. So it's good to always give yourself about a day before it's due, so you can do editing. You can even send it to someone, like let's say someone like a parent or someone that can edit it for you, or like a sibling or something, right? So I think that that's really important.
Yeah. What about you, Rabbia?
Something that really works for me when I'm stressed, especially during school, is definitely getting outside. I think even just going for a walk, and we're cooped up inside all day, it really helps us to get out, really grab that fresh air. And, just even if it's just going for a walk, I think that's really helpful. I will say though, as a Muslim student, something that I find really important when I'm stressed is to definitely just pray. And I think that really helps you, just detox and let it all out. And I think it also, makes you feel like you're not alone. And I think, just that feeling of it's going to be okay. I think prayer does a really big aspect of that. It really just helps makes you feel more calm of the situation. And especially as students, it can get really stressful, especially around midterms, finals. It really does take a toll on you. So just to take, a few minutes out of the day, whether it's all 5 prayers or even just one, I think anything can make a difference, or even just the little things. Like I make dua and I just say, like, it's going to be okay. Or if you think it's best for me, then give me this opportunity or experience. And I think it helps you a lot, because it really shows that it's not in your hands at the end of the day. It's part of God's plan, and he is the best planner. So just knowing that everything will turn out okay I think it really helps you de-stress, especially during COVID.
I completely agree. I mean, for me, even so, in the beginning of COVID, I was super stressed out, in the sense where I would just get really overwhelmed, because I thought I found the professors were giving more work. I don't know about you guys. I found that a lot.
They were giving more work.
Yeah, I found there was a lot more work. And I thought that, I felt overwhelmed, that, okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this. Like, it was different too when I was in person, because at least if I didn't feel like I could finish it, I had physically people around me, and I could see that they were also going exactly through what I was going through. Whereas like now, there was like this kind of sense of isolation, where I was the only student. I felt like in my program, in my own house. And I know I had my siblings and family, and they were a great support, but it's different when you have other peers around you. So that was kind of stressful. And then also just, again, the stresses with like, okay, well, there's a lot of competition sometimes in different universities, and just that whole, so many things. And I also found, like, just like my Muslim identity really helped me to like be grateful, and just like take a step back, look at everything. And exactly what Rabbia said, it was like, just whatever is going to come your way is going to come your way. Don't get stressed, and just try your best. And that's, I think, so much sometimes. And I think we all forget like how much we have to be grateful for, just because we get so caught up. The news right now is always so it can be really
It's
really
always COVID on the news. It's
always
always COVID on
COVID
the
on the
news.
news. It's
Yeah,
true.
and adding to you and Rabi, I think always remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and just just being happy for what you have, and whether it's making dua or you're doing tasbih, or you're just saying, uh, you're just being appreciative for what you have, and of course praying namaz. I think that's like the greatest power that you have, right?
Yeah.
So that's really good. But and I also think that even just talking to people, and like I noticed that, like, compared to when I was in school physically, and then now that I'm online, that the WhatsApp group chats have grown so much. Like, there's so much talking. So yes, you are not around people that are in the same situation as you with regards to assignments, professor stresses with school, in particular this particular course that you're in. But I mean, online and like with your university group chats and stuff like that, like even my own professors, they actually try to have us talk online, and they're like, we know you guys have your WhatsApp chats, we know that, so just talk about the assignment, discuss it and stuff. And it's good because it keeps everyone social and it gets them going, and I've seen so many friendships grow in them. I had a couple as well, so it's really nice. Yeah.
No, it's true. We have a question here. Do you know of any summer research programs that are accepting undergrads? Do you guys know of any?
So
Rabbia?
I know in my first year, after I finished my first year, I applied for the St. Michael's Hospital downtown Toronto. They have an internship program called the Keenan Research Summer Student Program, and I know they accept undergraduate students. What you have to do though is you have to look at different principal investigators. So I guess like scientists, and you look at their field of research, and the ones that you feel like you best align with, you can send them an email. And if they're taking in students on their team, they'll definitely, recruit you, have an interview. So that's what I did in my first year. Now, if you are a university student, I would highly recommend just reaching out to your different professors and faculty members, even if it's something that you may not have a lot of information about, you may not have like a course that you may not have that much experience in. If you find that it's something that would appeal to you, definitely just reach out to your professors. It's so much easier having that internal, I guess, connection. And a lot of them, I guess they also don't emphasize how much research that they actually do behind the scenes, but a lot of them have their own research projects, multiple actually. So, really just reaching out, sending them a message. And I think they would be a lot easier to, I guess, get a hold of. And as well, I guess it'd be a lot easier in terms of like onboarding. So I know St. Michael's has one. I know Holland Blue Review, another hospital, has one. I'm also biased towards health science, but I feel that's, if you're talking about research, I know they also have a really great one for students. I know my friend also did the workplace insurance safety board. They also have one, the WSIB. I don't think it's research exactly, but if you're looking for summer internships, I would definitely apply to those places.
Great. Those are a lot. I didn't know about all those. I mean, I only knew, like, you could always go to your, depending on what university you're in, they usually offer different types of programs. But yeah, Karathalan says thank you so much. Awesome. Okay, one more question. What are the biggest tips you could give for people who are going through high school and haven't been through the process already? Okay, so what are the biggest tips that are for people in high school? Knowing that you guys have been through the process of applying to universities, that horrible wait time. I remember, I don't know,
Oh yeah.
that terrible wait time that I had between, I want to say, like, I don't know, February to May-ish. It was just terrible. What were some tips for you guys?
You should have confidence.
Yeah, have confidence. I think also just keep up with your marks. Like, you have to, I know they give you conditional offers, but like I had a lot of friends who ended up not being able to get into their programs at the end because they slacked off a little bit. So definitely just keep that up. I know for me, personal experience, I was supposed to go to UT at the start of the summer, and I ended up going to Brock by the end of the summer. So I guess really find a program that appeals to you and you see yourself, doing well in. for me, I initially was going to U of T for life sciences, and then I realized I didn't really want to, I guess, pursue biology. Like I was more interested in human biology and like health sciences, not really life sciences, which focuses a bit more on, like plants and life and, organisms and stuff. I don't know. I just didn't feel that that was me. So really look at the courses that are within each program. They have that online. So look at the different courses that are offered between first and fourth year, as well as how many electives they're going to want you to take. Some programs like life sciences, or even just like a Bachelor of Science, they're broad. So some of them have more electives. If you want to go into something specific and you're kind of a bit more sure about what field you're interested in, especially like science, I discovered in the summer that Brock had, a co-op program, and they also had less electives, or I could have picked up a minor. So that was I guess more meaningful for me to go into, because I knew that was the correct stream for me. So I'd say really look at the course outlines, really look at the types of courses that are going to be offered within your programs, and I would highly recommend going into programs that have co-ops or internships included as part of the program, because when you come out of university, I mean, if you have a Bachelor of Science, there will be thousands that you're competing with who also have a Bachelor of Science. So if you have co-ops, I know employers love it. And it really just helps your own, personal development happen at such a faster, at a way faster rate than someone.
You're getting that hands-on experience.
Yeah, you got hands-on experience.
You're getting that hands-on experience. That's the most important, right?
And you also have experience within the field, and that could also, it can help you decide if you even like that program or not, or if you see yourself in that specific, field. And I think that's really important, because some people, have this whole plan, and then when they come out of university and then they start their first job, they're like, I don't even like this, So really, just if you're able to get those experiences beforehand, you're able to tailor your own, your own road so much easier and more efficiently than if you don't, or if you use that COVID as an excuse, like, oh, it's because of COVID, I can't really do anything right now. It's because of COVID, there aren't jobs. There are tons of ways you can get involved. Any experience is good experience. But also any school, like I said to before, we were talking about it, even just schools. Any school is a good school. Any school is going to give you quality education. If it's university, it's going to give you good education. It's about what you do with that education and how you apply it. That's what makes the difference between the type of education that you get. It's about your ability to really promote it and apply it within, your personal life, or within your friends or family, or within the community. It's really about what you take away from the education that you've learned.
Yeah.
It's when you're in high school, it's really important to like make like a pros and cons list, look at. And I think that because when I applied, I gave myself options. So I applied at like international development at Waterloo. I applied to like public policy and public administration at University of Ottawa. I applied to the health management program at York University. So I actually gave myself option. And then when I got accepted into all these universities, then, and even before, I went to the university fair, I went to the information night at York University, the virtual one, I think at Waterloo. So I made sure that, just like how Rabbia said, you just want to, do a little bit of research into all of these schools, get an understanding of what they're all about. Is that something that applies to you? Is that something that you want to do? Like, do you want to move away from home, or do you want to stay at home? Like you have to make a list, and you have to, make sure you make your decision properly. So when you go to university, you can, and you can take as long as you need, but, you can finish in 4 years. It's ideal, right? So, just it's good to be a little bit organized, and obviously, making sure that you're keeping on your grades even after you get accepted. And even if you know that you're going to do when you graduate, even if you put in minimal effort, you'll be over the the requirement average. Like you should continue to try to do as good as you can till the final day, till the final exam. It's really important. But obviously, like, don't stress, take breaks. Like Rabbia was saying earlier, it's good to go for walks. It's good to talk to people, right? It's good to take a break, to relax a little bit. You're almost done high school, so that's a big accomplishment.
I think also another thing that I'm kind of thinking that I'm just going back to when I was in grade 12, and I don't know about you guys. I got a bit of like a senioritis, like when it's like when I'm just kind of like I'm done with high school. I want to get out of
Yeah.
here. Like
Yeah.
it's I don't want to see any of these teachers again. Like I just want to get out.
Never again.
And that's so normal. And I think that's what kind of I know once I got like my offer. Oh, also another thing, early acceptance, in my opinion, is a terrible thing. And I've expressed my concern to every guidance counselor, and they agree with me because just because you get into you get early acceptance does not mean you will get into university in come September. That just means great, you have grade 11 grades, and we hope that you continue this trend. But if say your grade 12 grades aren't good, they can retract that offer. And I've seen so many students who get early acceptance and they're excited and they kind of just slack off and they drop their grades a little bit, even not even much, a little bit, and their offer gets taken away. So I always stress to students, like I always meet people who are like, oh, well, I didn't get accepted to early acceptance, and all my friends did. It means nothing because what's most important is by June or whenever your final grade, as long as that is at the requirements and it's a good mark. If those are low, you have a risk of losing your admission. So I remember a girl, a really close friend of mine, she got accepted to Ryerson Nursing, which is pretty competitive, and she had amazing grades. And I guess she slacked off because again, I slacked off. Everyone slacked off. It's so easy to because you're so excited about university and you don't really care about high school really that much in your last few months. And her grades dropped and her admission was taken away and there was nothing that could have been done. So just because someone gets accepted to earlier does not mean you don't have a chance or make you less than. It means nothing really.
It's also important, and this can help people that maybe are, or if they do slack off. It's what's important about high school, even about elementary, is that they're helping to prepare you for the higher education. They're helping you to prepare for post-secondary education, whether that is through math skills or whether that's through writing skills. And I think writing is the most important because my program is like very, very essay based and I have to write a lot of papers. I read a lot of papers during the term in various different classes. And I learned that, just the different, like the grammar and how to take an idea and to explore on it, even just how to make like a thesis and how to make a paper. And obviously when you get to university, you're going to get better at doing that, but it's good that we have that foundation when we're in high school, whether it's like grade 12 English, right? So you're going to take these away.
You'll take away a lot of things. And I guess once you get into university, another tip I would have for people is that make sure that you're not overworking yourself because it's so easy to. And also just make sure that if you do have a little bit of dip from your grade 12 or grade 11 grades and you're not where you want, don't let that discourage you. Everybody is going through the exact same thing. You can just build on it. For me, at least my first year out of all so far, it's been kind of the worst. And it's because you build and it's an adjustment period. You're adapting to a whole new life and like new teachers, new rules, and there's so much bigger school.
Bigger school. I went to York and I was like, oh my God, I don't want to scare anyone, but I was like, it took me a couple of days, to get around the campus and just sitting in the lecture hall. And I do advise, just a quick tip, when you go to university, and I know Rabbia because I visited Rabbia at her school one day, sit at the front of the lecture hall because that's where you can focus.
I agree.
And that's where you can get a grasp of the content. And you know what? The professors, they notice you. And when you go oh yeah, you're that kid that, sits in the front, right? So they'll know you.
No, it's true. It's so true. Like, I mean, I never sat in the front in the beginning because it is intimidating though.
It kind of is.
It's a bit scary. Yeah. But in the beginning I did it and it took me courage. I know that's sounds kind of silly, like why can't you sit in the front, but it's really intimidating because there's like 1,000 students in your first year. There's so many more students than there are like now in a third year course. There's about maybe 100 to 200 students.
It's getting smaller.
In my first year it was at least 1,000 kids and it's so scary. So don't be nervous, sit in the front. In the beginning, your prof won't remember your name, but if you sit in the front, he probably will. Or she probably will.
Especially if you make it a habit and you're there every week, right?
Exactly.
I think something that I realized during my grade 12 year was initially applying to all like the name brand schools like UT and like Western and I only applied to those two. I even applied I applied to Waterloo, and I later found that I guess it took me a while, but during the summer, I really realized that it doesn't really matter if you don't go to one of the name brand schools like UT. I think you can get quality education wherever you go. It's about what you take it. What you put in is what you get out. So how you apply it really strengthens that. So for students, if you guys didn't apply to those types of schools, you're like, oh, I didn't get into those types. Like, it's fine. You're going to be okay. And you're going to find a program that may be a lot better than, something at U of T. Also, going to a smaller school, I felt had so many perks because profs always recognized me because the class sizes were so much smaller. The biggest class I had probably had 100 students, which is amazing because you were just talking about how your first year class would have 1,000 kids, whereas my classes were fairly small. And I think that was so much easier for me to connect with professors. They knew my name. They didn't look at me as like a student number. They knew my name. I was able to connect with TAs a lot easier. It helps now with COVID because I know Zoom has breakout rooms, so those kind of foster the importance of like smaller rooms. But I always had that going in. And I think that helped me learn so much better because profs recognized if you didn't do so well, and TAs recognized that, and they were able to help me. And I guess even just help. I guess even what was I gonna say? In times where I was kind of like struggling, they were able to curate it for me to, I guess, learn a bit better. And I think that helped me out so much. And so I would really, I think I would really emphasize the importance of even just going to a smaller school if that's how you learn better and you want that type of experience. Don't be afraid if it's not, a top 5 school. Like, I think it has as many benefits. It's maybe just newer. So definitely, don't feel like bad if you didn't get in, or don't feel bad if that didn't work out for you. There's tons of ways that, be going to a smaller school or going to a school that's not as, reputable can help you and can be a benefit to you later on.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks, Rabbia. We have a great question here by Adam.
Oh, yeah.
He's a grade 11 student from Toronto. I've been able to achieve a 90 plus average throughout online school. I don't know what I want to do in the future, what university programs I want to apply to, or what career I want to do. Do you have any advice about how to choose? I think everyone's been in that boat though, right? Like you have a go ahead.
Well, first, Adam, I commend you for 90, like finding 90% average. I mean, that's great. I mean, you are clearly putting in the work, and I'm no doubt you're going to be very successful in university. I think when looking at that, to give you like advice, I'm looking at your course, because the electives that you pick in high school, like if like say you're science based, right? And if that's something that you like, then try and find a program like bio or biomed, like something that you like, right? That's related to that. But just make sure that what you want to do is, it's your passion, it's your interest, right? And I think also you should try and find a program that maybe has a couple different avenues from there, so you have option, right? So let's say if someone picks one particular program that will lead you to one particular career, just make sure that is what you want to do. I mean, you will have time, inshallah, but just make sure that you pick something with option, and you have that, right? That's important.
And also, I would say, if for someone who doesn't know what they want to do, but you have good grades and you're willing to work hard for once you find out, maybe pick maybe a co-op program. And it can be a general program. It can be like general bio or general, I don't know, like business or psychology or something more general where you can kind of lead up and focus in, but maybe something with co-op, because with co-op, you can try out different fields. I'm in a co-op program, and I've canceled out some careers through this process because I thought maybe I want to go into, health administration, or maybe I want to go in more healthcare and more clinical sciences. And I've crossed out things because I've worked the jobs, and I'm like, I don't know if I like this. I don't enjoy this. So do co-op. I'm a huge advocate of it because I think it really and I think Rabbia and Hasan are too, because we were talking about this before, how it can really give you, first of all, that experience you can put on your resume that will help you for future employers, and also help you in making a choice for your career and your future. So, I mean, again, those usually co-op programs require a bit of a higher average. So I wouldn't worry about that, but I would really recommend that. Anything do you want to add, Rabbia, to grad?
I think when I was in grade 12, I also really didn't know what I wanted to do, but I think especially with like grades that you do well in, you're clearly passionate about it, which is why you're studying so hard, to really find subjects within school that you feel are like, I guess, an area that interests you. So if that's math for you, or if that's statistics, or if that's English for you, from that, you can really branch out some of the common programs that are offered at university. I think even just consulting with like your teachers and asking them, where do you see like myself if you don't know? I think teachers have a lot of good insight too. I remember in grade 12 asking my teachers, or they would even come to me and ask me like, oh, what program did you apply to? And I would tell them, and they'd be like, oh, you would be a good fit in, blank. Also for me, I applied to, I was going to go to U of T at the start of the summer. So even just taking that summer to really look at the different programs, I didn't do that. I just applied, and I didn't really realize what was in the program. And then I started seeing the courses that were offered that you had to take, like prerequisites that were given for you to graduate. And I was like, I don't really want to do physics. Like, that's not me, So I found a program that was tailored to my interest, which was public health. And I felt that was more, that had health sciences in it, but it also had business. And I think that catered to who I was and the type of field that I was looking forward to pursuing. So taking, the time to look at course outlines and seeing what the different schools offer in terms of internships and co-op opportunities, and also research if that's something that, that interests you, definitely look into those things, do your homework. And you're in grade 11, you still have a lot of time for that. So you could actually be, better than I was, and really look into this stuff early on, so that you're not, annoying your parents in the summer being like, no, this isn't for me. They're trying to, I remember the day I said, oh, I'm going to go to Brock or something. I remember my dad was like, how are you not going to go to U of T? Like, what do you mean? I still remember he was like, obviously, like parents are confused too, but, I really appreciated how on board. I literally chose Brock a day before school started. I had no clue what the campus even looks like. I was lucky enough to have family in Niagara Falls, so I stayed with them my first year because I couldn't get into residence at that point. Yeah. But my parents were, so supportive in that. And honestly, like, I literally packed my stuff in a day, and I was like, this is where I'm going. So really, honestly, everything happens for a reason. And as much as you can plan, nothing might turn out the way you think it's going to. Mm-hmm. So I would say really just do your homework beforehand to save yourself the stress later on. Because I remember it was chaotic, but that's okay. Because you know what? You end up figuring it out, and you end up where you're supposed to be. So you still have a lot of time. So I would just say do your homework for sure.
I like what Rabbia said about look at the courses, because I don't think it's as promoted as much from the universities, because I think maybe they don't want to show you that and scare you and overwhelm you.
Yeah, I think they just market the schools, and they don't really market the programs and what you have to do within the programs, which is way more important than how good a school is, or if it's number one or not. You know what I mean? And you also have to look at their cutoff averages, because a lot of these schools, especially the bigger ones, they'll take in 1,000 kids, and then by the first and second semester, half of them are gone because they dropped out. So it's really about recognizing, if you're applying for a specific program, look at the type of program you're applying to, because half of them, you won't even see them in a year. Half those people, you won't see them. So, and also find a program that you can maybe specialize in. I know Hasan did that for York, and I think that was really cool.
Yeah. And just adding on to what you guys said, like, I had some people, they're like, what? We have to take stats and health management? Why? How? Like where? Like how, why is that even a thing? I'm like, oh, you guys didn't really check the York's, because my university had a whole catalog of all the courses that you have to take. But I also think that, and this is kind of cool, like, and I didn't really know this until like a high school teacher kind of showed us in grade 12. He was showing us just like on the government of Canada, like just their website and just like the job trends and stuff that, you know, the top careers, like for example, like computer science or IT or something. So also just make sure like pick something great, right? Pick something meaningful, but also pick something that you know that you will definitely have a career in the future, and you won't be, you know, in that situation where you don't have a job. So, you know, it's good to also look at that as well, just to see the trends. That's
I
important.
agree. Also, on usually, like, I don't know, I think majority of schools will have this, but if you go on the course, if you go to the university website, go on the course page, the program page, and they usually have, you have to look, I don't know where it is on each website, but they have a section where it's like talk to a current student or
Oh
meet
yeah.
up with the current. And so I'm an ambassador for Waterloo, and I've been with this program, the university will send me emails and be like, hi, this person from Waterloo or Toronto, and they're wondering, and they'll be like, hey, I don't know, like, how is it competitive? What's the courses like? You know, will I be able to, whatever, random questions. So connect with the student from that program. And I think that is really helpful.
I, I,
It gives you insight.
adding on to you, I had 3 calls, one before, no, or two before and one after, when I accepted to York, from the Faculty of Health, just asking me, just like ask us questions, like what
Yeah.
questions you have. I would spend like an hour on the phone with like the person,
Yeah.
and she was also an ambassador. So really, like your university, like I know from my experience, I had a very very good experience with York. Like they've definitely been trying to get that outreach to the students, to the incoming students.
Yeah.
They even have like the Facebook pages and stuff. They're like ask questions about the program, and you know, just you like talk to different people in upper year and stuff like that. It's very important, right? You can get their insight too, their personal insight.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks, Hasan. Okay, so that's really all we had to share for you guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question, or you can put it in the chat, but I'll give everyone a little moment to unmute themselves. And if they want to and ask a question, you can go ahead now. Oh, there's no.
We do have a question. Yeah.
How important co-op is. So, do you have any tips on how to get a useful co-op? Oh my God. Work on your resume and your cover letter. Just spend time over that and there's a lot of writing centers at different universities.
And they have, I know Brock specifically is Career Zone. So they have a specific, like a website that you can use. It's an internal website that has a bunch of job postings. And they also have in Career Zone, so they probably have it at every university, but I know I'm just talking about Brock, but they have Career Zone where they have an office. You can go in with your resume. They look at it, they edit it, they give you tips on how to change it up, your resume and your cover letter. And then you can also schedule in appointments for practicing your interviewing skills, which is really important. Another thing I would say is for co-ops, if it's designed to be in your program, so I know Waterloo does that school work type of thing. I know for me, it was just the summers. Start applying a semester before, because if you're say your co-op's in, starting in May and you're applying in March, it's kind of late, and they've already started recruiting people. So if your co-op starts in May, you need to start applying December. And I think because you need to give yourself enough time to be able to apply to a lot of different places, and you won't be surprised you're going to be applying a lot. And just don't fear rejection, because it's going to come a lot. But the one that will accept you, or the two, it'll pay off. And so don't be afraid if you get rejected, or if you get rejected multiple times. I would get tons of rejections every day, but it's always the one experience that does, call you back, and it ends up changing you. So yeah, just apply early and make use of the different resources that are available on campus. I know now they're online, but just even searching that up, you can definitely connect with people at school who can really look at that for you.
Yeah. Hasan, you want to
Yeah. I do think like, right, rejection is a part of life, but when that one person or that one, two employers, they do reach out to you, they valued your skills, they valued your experience, and they want you to, they want you to gain more with them. I know from my own university for the practicum and the health studies specialized program, only if you're doing specialized, they have two options for the practicum. You can apply on your own and get the co-op, or the university has their own like links to get you, it's a non-paid position, but that is some on experience for the paid position, and then for the non, it's on your grades, your major grades for your major. So based on your GPA, you'll get it. So obviously, even when you're in university, to get the co-op, keep the grades up. Even if you got in from high school for the co-op program, it doesn't mean that they're going to give it to you right away. Like you have to keep your own grades up in university as well for that.
And any experience is good experience. I used to think,
Yeah.
When I was in high school, so I worked as a pharmacy assistant during high school. And again, that job I applied to at least 100 jobs. All of them were rejections. And until I got the one, I really almost gave up because I'm like, I can't take any more rejection. But I got the pharmacy job. And I thought that was such good experience because, hey, look, it's healthcare, and it was. I'm not denying that, but a lot of people I know got also amazing jobs, and they just like worked at Walmart, which is not healthcare. It doesn't really have that much to do, and retail. And it's not so much about where you work. I mean, obviously that is a big part, but what did you gain from that experience? Like, what can you apply? Leadership skills, teamwork. What did you gain from it? And it's possible that's a job at maybe McDonald's, Tim Hortons, Walmart, some of those like retail jobs that are non-specific to your career can give you more experience than maybe a clinical job would get you.
Yeah.
So don't be discouraged. I remember I felt a little discouraged in the beginning of first year when I was in co-op and we were all kind of sharing our resumes, getting them ready. And I felt like, oh my God, this person worked at this hospital. This person worked here. And don't get discouraged. Be confident again about your abilities and what you've learned at your workplace and flaunt it. That's another thing. Don't be humble on your resume because this is your time to sell yourself, really. Like
You're selling yourself.
So even your cover letter, don't be humble. Don't just expect the employer to assume things about you. Tell them. and a lot of these universities, they'll give workshops on how to do that. So don't be worried about that. There's lots of resources.
And I know even just coming out of high school, I never worked a part-time job in high school because my parents always said to me, I would say like, oh, I want a job, and they'd be like, no, school is your first job. So I would never worked, but Hasan's my brother, so Hasan worked at I don't know how many jobs he worked, like at Tim's.
I had the experience.
Yeah, but I noticed coming out of high school, I was lacking. I was shy. I didn't really know how to converse with people. I feel like even though these part-time jobs working at Tim's and stuff, they build so many of your soft skills like communication and working with others, and even just talking, it builds so much experience. Whereas I felt coming into university, I was like, I couldn't really go up to someone like that. Whereas Hasan did such a great job. He was the easiest guy to talk to. He got along with everyone. He's very outgoing. It's gaining those soft skills, which employers love and they really want, especially in potentials, internship students and co-op students. So I would say if you can pick up a part-time job, for sure do it. It teaches you so many skills, time management, your soft skills. It really builds on that. Confidence. It really does, because I didn't have a part-time job and I had to learn all of this stuff during university. As a fourth year student now, I'm pretty confident with myself and I feel like I do know how to converse properly now. But going in, I felt like because my parents didn't let me work, I was like, I wish I did. And I would totally tell someone to do it because it builds you so much more than somebody who, doesn't work part-time.
I agree with you. I completely agree. Hasan, did you want to add one more thing before we wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you're working, like even my current job I have, I was just thinking about, like, what skills did I gain from this, which I just added on to my resume. So yeah, conflict resolution was one of them because I'm dealing with so many people's personal accounts and stuff like that. So it's very important to have work experience, even if it's not tailored. into that specific area, because it's going to benefit you in the long run. And then also just relating that to your own Muslim identity, it's just, you have to think about, even with these rejections and stuff, you know, if it wasn't meant for you, it wasn't meant for you, right? That just take it as that. And you know, God, you know, it's God's plan, and he's going to give you, he's going to give you the best. So, you know, maybe if you get another experience down the line, maybe that's the best one for you. So, you know, we should never doubt the ability of that. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love the advice. Great. Well, we actually went a bit over. We were supposed to wrap up by 2, but thank you so much for your questions. And I really hope this was helpful. I mean, if you have future questions, please email any of us. So I'm going to share. Okay, so that's Hasan's email, my email, and Rabbia's email. Please email any of us if you have questions about our respective universities, programs, just the high school process. We understand how stressful this can be because we've all been through it, and we're here to help. And Durham Muslim Alliance would also like to thank you for coming to our event. We really appreciate it. We really hope if you would like to get more involved with Durham Muslim Alliance, we're always happy when people want to help out with us and our initiatives with civic engagement. We would love it. So DM us, email us, and we love to hear from you guys and hear some feedback. Thank you so much, Hasan and Rabbia. I really appreciate you guys.
It was a great experience. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, hopefully we're able to help aspiring university students, you know, on this journey, because it's very nice. It's very interesting.
Thank you, Hasan.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rabbia, also for just being a part of this. I really appreciate it, and I hope everyone learned something. Okay. We'll talk soon then. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.